Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. In a stirring turn of events, it is raining in England. Today we are taking on Birmingham City, and we're going to beat them. We just lost our first game in the Barclays Premier League yesterday. I apologize to my friends and my family. We're on such a high after winning the Carling Cup. We didn't even care. But we care about this game. We need to win this game. We need to get back in the spirit of winning. Our referee is Scott McBeanie. And we've just got to get back in the spirit of this game. We've got to remember that ultimately our job is to win the Premier League, or not win it, but finish in the top four. That's our dream. That's our dream, is to find a way to finish in the top four. So today I'm going to talk about owning a small business and quote unquote government regulation, and why everybody pretty much is lying to you. Hence the name of this video. Everyone is lying to you. It's true. So one thing that you hear a lot from the from sort of business-friendly conservatives is that the biggest thing that's holding up job growth in America is quote unquote government regulation. You may have heard this a lot. Sometimes agencies are cited, like the EPA is cited a lot, and OSHA, other organizations that regulate commerce, try to limit the ability of businesses to do everything that they want to do, like making it so that they have to abide by the Clean Water Act and things like that. And you will often hear that the expense of maintaining these regulations and living up to these regulations is such that, like, small businesses in particular can't hire as aggressively as they would like to. Well, that's bunk. And I'm here today to tell you, as a small business owner, that it's bunk and why it's bunk, and then to talk more generally about, like, the blessing and curses of regulation, and then to talk about why everyone's lying to you. So here's why it's bunk. Schmerg! Oh no. Is he hurt? He was writhing around in pain. Oh, he's fine. He's a bit of a drama queen, must be said, Bald John Green. I often find him writhing around in pain when in fact nothing is wrong, and I discourage that kind of stuff as a supporter of fair play. But so it goes. So anyway, I own a small business, right? Like we're through Crash Course and SciShow and our other various projects, we have employees, including Danica. Say hi, Danica. And Stan, who you'll know from Crash Course if you watch Crash Course, and Meredith the intern, who's a very nice intern, longtime nerd fighter. Meredith the intern, longtime nerd fighter. I don't know if she's still a nerd fighter though, because it really seeing how the sausage gets made really spoils the whole experience of nerd fighting. That's got to be, and it isn't. It is! Oh, yes, he's back! It's other John Green with a fantastic goal after missing a goal. Look at it, other John Green off the post, but he doesn't give up on the ball. He finishes. Other John Green from his husband, John Green's ball. Another John Green's. They're the best forwards that Swindon Town has ever seen. So proud of the boys. So proud that they're back. That wasn't a foul. That was an ankle hug. So proud. To see John Green passing to John Green and John Green scoring. That's what we've been waiting for the last 50 days and 50 nights, that we've been suffering with only one John Green to keep us company. All right, we're back in the game. So I run a small business, and let me tell you the extent to which, like, things like tax incentives and regulation affect my hiring. 0%. Absolutely 0%. Not only that, I know a lot of other small business owners, and they would say the exact same thing. I don't hire people based on whether I get a $3,000 tax break to hire them, because hiring them costs a lot more than $3,000, and it always will, because I've got to pay their payroll taxes. Get up. I've got to pay their payroll taxes, and I've got to, there are all kinds of other things that you have to pay that are important things that must. Woo, nice save there. I'm going to check on him, make sure he's okay. Oh, it's French the Lana, and he's injured. That's too bad. Also, John Green's exhausted. I'm going to take him out. I'm going to put in D. McGoldrilock so nobody gets hurt. All right, we're back in it. Oh, French Lana, I hope you're not out for long because you're one of our best players. And I like you. I like you as a person so much. So it doesn't factor into my hiring at all because it is a tiny fraction of the cost of hiring someone and employing someone. It is the tiniest imaginable fraction. And it is hilarious to me to see politicians on both sides of the aisle go in and say, like, oh, we need to give tax incentives to people who bring jobs back to America. Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to that tax incentive as an idea, but it's not actually going to affect hiring very much at all. And realistically, like most economists would tell you that. Or you hear people say like, oh, we need to cut down on government regulation and create incentives for people to hire more. That's just not why people hire people. They hire people. It has nothing to do with government. You hire people when you can afford to, and the only thing that government does that makes those decisions possible is it functions, right? Like when government functions and is reliable and creates, safe communities where people feel comfortable living and working and they don't feel like they have to invest, a lot of their money in personal security. Let me give you a good example. It's really hard to do business in Somalia right now because it's super expensive. And the reason it's expensive is not because of government regulation or because of tax incentives. It's expensive because a huge percentage of your money has to go to personal security. Like a huge percentage of your business costs have to go to making sure that your employees don't get killed. Here in the United States, I invest almost nothing in making sure that Danica doesn't get killed. And that's a big added value that the United States offers me over investing in Somalia. So that's one of the main reasons I hire people in America is that I don't have to have that same, that could have been a great moment. I don't have to have that same fear that I would elsewhere. Another thing that government provides is a certain amount of stability when it comes to knowing what the rules are going to be. So I know that I can hire someone because the rules aren't likely to change dramatically, and it's not likely to go one way or the other in terms of things being very different. That kind of Like for instance, the payroll tax isn't going to go up by 1,000% tomorrow. That's the kind of stability, and that's a stability, for instance, you don't have in Greece. I do think that's a drag on those southern European economies where they really don't know what the level of taxation they have to get to in order to have a functioning government is. They know that they're not there yet, but they don't know quite where it is. Oh, he's big! No. Oh! Pure courage from the Swoodly Poopers, though. They are not afraid to go in for headers. I was all ready to sing the D. McGoldrilock song, by the way. So that on both sides of the aisle, that's not honest. The other thing that's not honest, I think, is when people tell you that there is some way that we are going to fix our budget deficit either through growth in the private sector or through raising taxes. So the two ways that people tell you that the budget deficit is going to be fixed, and I think both of these ways are pretty blatantly dishonest, is they either say, we're going to raise taxes on rich people, and then raising taxes on rich people will allow us to cut the budget deficit. Well, it would allow us to cut the budget deficit, but it wouldn't allow us to cut the budget deficit by that much because this is a pretty middle-class country, and in fact, like most of our taxpayers are not super rich. And so rolling back the Bush tax cuts just on the rich wouldn't do enough to lower the deficit. You'd have to roll back all the Bush tax cuts and go back to to what the tax system looked like in maybe say, I don't know, 96 or even 1987 after the Reagan tax cuts. 87 was a really good year for taxes. So I'm going to say if you go back to 1987, the Reagan era taxation structure, you could have a balanced budget and still have Medicare and Medicaid. That's the only way that you're going to do it by cutting taxes. The only way, by raising taxes. The only way that you're going to do it that doesn't involve raising taxes means the end of Medicare and Medicaid and certainly the radical changing of Social Security. So, the truth is most people like Medicare because they think old people should have health care. And they understand that it would be pretty expensive to find a different way for old people to have health care. Like, for instance, if we just took away all their health insurance right now, they would start going to the emergency room a lot, and they wouldn't save us much money. I'm not just. I love you, old people. I know. There's tons of elderly supporters of the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers. Just kidding. There are none of you. But that's the truth. It wouldn't even save us that much money to get rid of Medicare in the end, because we don't live in a country where people don't get health care when they ask for it. So anyway, the overarching point here is that unless we basically eliminate Medicare, with our current level of taxation, we're never going to balance the budget. All the private sector growth in the world, all the deregulation in the world is not even going to come close to balancing the budget. And no one really deep down in politics who knows about this stuff believes otherwise. And if they say otherwise, they're just not being honest. And I think, by the way, there are a lot of people who will acknowledge that. Like President Obama, for instance, acknowledges it, although only when pressed. And I also think like there's a lot of Republican people in the House who recognize it. Oh, look at that. They're hugging their knees in shame because the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers have emerged victorious. So it's not a partisan question. It's a question to me of trying to pay attention to what actually fuels economic growth and to what governments actually do and what you actually want them to do. Thank you for watching. Congratulations to the Swoodly Poopers. Welcome back, other John Green, your first goal since your injury. It's so great to see. Best wishes.